Cats arguing, we ain't African, we ain't black, we ain't this, we ain't that. Man, truth is, we all of that. Cause all of that come from us, you know what I'm saying? It's all about where you gon' fit in. Yeah. Yo, what's your name? You an African, an American, or an Israelite? Black or more, Muhammad, or a provocateur, what the business like? Malcolm X, my enemies. Chief Turner, Dr. King, keep a burner, you repeat. Look at me, who you see? I'm garbage when I rap a bar. Every line is a blacker star. I'm masterful cause I understand who these crackers are. Nat Turner's my avatar, my attitude so desolate. I'm a mocking dog, these motherfuckers. Dr. Cotton, these Europeans, know what I mean? I'm Farrakhan, never will I run. Robert Williams, nigga with a gun. George and Jonathan Jackson, Dr. Yosef Ben, Yakinan, show and prove like Dr. Clark. I'm a goon cause I got the heart. I'm Dubois cause I'm hella smart. I'm Denzel cause I got the part. I'm Bianchi, Sutton Kufu, Mansa Musa, Shaka Zulu. I'm with Mia, I'm with Tulu. If I was Jesus, what would you do? I'm a Negro and I'm colored. I'm your nigga and your brother. Yeah, I kill you, but I love you. Accept your own and reject your other. What's your name?
What's your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you a done?
What's your name? It's the Chigaboo, it's the Porsche Monkey, the Sambo. It's the Oreo, maybe Revolution is just too much for the handle. I ain't carry no scandal. I ain't scary, I am. Harry Tuck with a candle. Time to pick up the mantle. I'm a son to I ain't Queen of Zinga. Nefertiti and Queen of Mina. Half she said and the Queen of Sheba. She thinks she God, please believe. Name is Osada, great escape. Angela Davis, keep safe. Winnie Mandela refused.
Boom. Peace and power to all. Peace and power to all. Let's see here. All right. This is your brother, Baba Amin Ojuwoke, and this is the morning build. It's been a minute. Let me switch my camera out this right quick, y'all. Let's see if this camera, there we go. All right, then, that's the camera I like to use. This is the morning build. You know what I'm saying? It is Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Might not want to put that day. People say, man, you want to reuse your content. You know what I'm saying? But that is what it is. I want people to know when we actually did this and pointed this out, man. What's up? Everybody out there, man, it's great to be black on the morning build. I'm going to make it a quick one this morning. We do have class this morning at the Uhuru Academy, so you know I have to do what I got to do. Speaking of the Uhuru Academy, it is the best education experience for black children on the planet. All right, definitely go check us out at our new site, uhuruacademy.org. You know what I'm saying? The Uhuru Academy.org is where you can go and check out the Uhuru Academy. If you're looking for African-centered solutions for your children, we have a K through 12 online program with students enrolled all over the world, learning about self, you know what I'm saying? Learning, of course, those core subjects and core values. We specialize in STEM skills. We specialize in writing and creating, you know what I'm saying? We specialize in developing our teachers and educators of tomorrow. So you definitely want to go check out uhuruacademy.org. If you're looking to leave the public school system, if you're homeschooling and you're looking for African-centered solutions, you're looking for culturally relevant solutions for your children, definitely you want to check out the Uhuru Academy. We are in our 14th year, going into our 15th year as an independent school, you know. And so I'm a black-owned business, y'all. We're black-owned business, and shout out to my beautiful wife and Koyo Ojuwoke, my co-founder of the Uhuru Academy. You know what I'm saying? And I like to point that out too, brothers, because you know we're not built to do this thing alone. We're built to do this thing together, you know. And I know a lot of black men and black women be at odds over who is this and who is that, who plays this role and who plays that role. But since the beginning of time, We've been doing this thing together. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for the unification of the black man and black woman, there would be no humanity at all, right? And I think it's going to take that reunification to push humanity forward into the future. All right, you know what I'm saying? So just something to point out as we do our thing, and as I shout out my beautiful wife. That music you heard in the beginning, that was What's Your Name, featuring by Amin and Mama and Koyo, or the DOK in Ebony Essence, and you can find that on all platforms. What's Your Name by the DOK featuring Ebony Essence. And that song was just all about who you are. You know, we are many things. We're not a monolith as black people. Some of us are Muslim. Some of us are Christian. Some of us practice Ifa. Some of us are black Hebrew Israelites. You know what I'm saying? We run a plethora. You got Rastafarians. You name it, we're that. You know what I'm saying? And our thing is just stand on that. What are the key values that come along with that? And if we just be that, if we personify the main values, the core values of what we believe in, you probably wouldn't be able to tell much difference between us all, because most of those ideologies believe in do unto others as you would have others do unto you. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what that is. But that's not what we're here for today. We're gonna do a quick build this morning. I wanted to discuss the boycott, and I put my air quotes up. I want to discuss the boycotts and the protests that are going on in relationship to companies rolling back their DEI policies, right? And so a lot has been going on since the election of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, because they came together, right? And including an attack on federal government, right? Basically an attack on what they call an attack on the bureaucracy in the federal government, where they're rolling back budgets, they're firing people en masse, and shrinking government programs, right? It's already impacting everyday people. Matter of fact, they've had to walk back some of the things that they were going to do because they're impacting their own base. I guess they walked in and thought only so-called minorities were benefiting from a lot of these programs, and didn't realize that most programs that are out there helping working class people and helping the poor are helping more white people than anybody else. And a lot of those people are their base, the working class white people being their base. So they in there navigating and realizing some things. But in the midst of the storm, you have corporate America responding like, you know what? It's a new king in town. It's a new sheriff in town, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And they kind of got out ahead of this thing, saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? They could do some damage to us. Right. Because, of course, these corporations, they want tax breaks. These corporations, they want to benefit from whatever Trump is doing for the rich, because regardless of whether they have DEI policies or not, these corporations still represent the rich and wealthy class. The owners of Walmart, the owners of Target, they represent the wealthy class. And so, of course, they're in a precarious position. Do I continue to have these programs that I market? I market as being opportunity building programs for marginalized populations, right? Or do I continue to ride that wave that came from the Black Lives Matter movement and things like that, when it became popular to promote Black-owned businesses, when they didn't want to get caught up in the racist hailstorm, you know what I'm saying, that came about as a result of all the protesting and things of police brutality as a result of tragedies like Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, and George Floyd, right? They started riding that wave, Kaepernick taking the knee, then the NFL and the NBA started riding that anti-racism marketing wave. I call it a marketing wave because a lot of the things that were done were basically basically ceremonial things, not necessarily things that bring about concrete change and economic empowerment inside the community, right? But you did have chains like Target who advertised and marketed how they were letting more black-owned businesses put their products inside of their stores like they wasn't doing it before. I don't know what the statistics were prior to the marketing blitz, right? But once the marketing blitz happened, where hey, we stand with minorities and marginalized groups, they began to advertise the black products that they had in their store, right? And started highlighting that. And they won a lot of black dollars because of that. A lot of black people began to go in and support Target because they were doing that. And I know some of you may say, hey, that's a great thing that they did that, right? But you have to understand that dollars and economic development, from my understanding, right, true economic development happens when you circulate your dollar, right? So let's say I have a partnership with Target and I put my product in Target and you come and buy from Target. Target is going to get a nice piece of that. I'm going to get some of that. Target's going to get a nice piece of that, right? But that dollar that I get, even though I'm a black-owned business, when I get that dollar, yes, you've helped me. Yes, you've helped my family. However, we no longer have these solid black communities that we live in together through which we can circulate those dollars, right? And keep those dollars moving. Right. And then you're still helping, right, this multi-billion-dollar platform called Target maintain really its status quo. What does Target's leadership look like? Right. What is Target doing to reinvest in the community as a whole? And if it's really not enough, we shouldn't start treating Target as if it's a black-owned business because they do business with black people who create products. What we should be doing is building Targets. What we should be doing is building department stores. What we should be doing, I was in a mall the other day in the black community here in Columbia, and it was almost completely abandoned. Me and my babies were waiting. We are going to go to the movies across the street, and we decided to walk through the mall, right? And the mall was completely empty in the middle of the black community. In the food court, there were 2 restaurants, greeting King Cam. In the food court, there were 2 restaurants, right? One Asian-owned place, one black-owned place. And you can see all the empty spaces, right, inside of the food court. And we know that online shopping kind of killed the shopping mall, right? But I couldn't help but think, what if all these spaces were filled with black-owned businesses? What if all these spaces, what if this was what if we had a community market or community flea market inside of this shopping center that's looking abandoned, right? And a community could really circulate dollars if it could batten down the hatches and provide goods and services to itself, right? And so when I think about us calling for a buy-in of companies who keep DEI, right? In other words, go spend your black dollars at these big white-owned corporations that don't invest in our communities, but provide some jobs. And understand that DEI don't mean black, right? Also understanding that DEI doesn't mean black, right? And even understanding statistically, right, that those who benefit from DEI are not black people. The people who benefit from DEI the most are white women. So those who keep the DEI policies, our so-called leaders are telling us to buy into those. Let's have buy-ins to these big white corporations that they're still hiring white women, gay people, Asian people, all marginalized populations, and a few black people slid in. Let's infuse them with dollars, right? But take dollars away from those who are ending their DEI policies. Here we go again, stepping up the fight for everyone in this inclusion agenda, except for ourselves. skipping over so much we can do for ourselves. Where are the buy-ins for Black-owned businesses? I want to call for an end to the boycott on Black-owned businesses, because it would seem, when you look at how much Black people support Black-owned businesses, it seems like we're boycotting ourselves. I know Black people that'll say, "Nah, Black-owned businesses, they charge too much. Black-owned businesses, they don't have good customer service. Black-owned," right? Some people treat supporting Black-owned businesses as if it's something you just do on holidays like Kwanzaa, right? And not only should we end our boycott on Black-owned businesses, we need to end our boycott on going into business as Black people. We've had generation after generation, particularly during this so-called integration period of the last 60 years, that have been predominantly raised to get an education and go out and get a good job. Go work for somebody else. Get out of the community. Most of us are raised to leave the Black community, not invest in the Black community. Most of us, when we think about the past, as far as the Black community is concerned, when we think about the 50s, 60s, the 1940s, 1930s, all we think about is Jim Crow. We've been trained to focus on the negative, the negativity that plagued our communities. So we look at the Black community historically as a place of oppression, right? We look at it as a place that our ancestors only lived there because they had to live there. Black people were forced to live among each other. That's what we're taught. Black people were forced to open up their own businesses. That's what we are taught. But we're not taught that Black people came out of slavery determined to build their own communities, determined to build their own towns, determined to build their own businesses, that they chose to live amongst themselves because living amongst other people was not safe. They did not come out with a goal, right, to temporarily live amongst themselves, then voluntarily dissolving their communities so they can assimilate and blend into the larger acting up. But I hope y'all can still hear me on my main stream, right? So the goal in the past, right, was not we're going to temporarily set up Black communities during Jim Crow, and then once we end racism, everybody's going to move out of the Black community. Black-owned businesses will be unloaded of the burden of having our own businesses. We can get rid of the burden of circulating our dollar inside our community for 11 months in a row, and we'll one day get to the point to where that stanky Black dollar will only stay in our community for 6 hours. And that'll be our claim to fame. That'll be our big inclusion statistic, is that we have successfully integrated our dollar. We no longer have the burden of maintaining our own hotels. We no longer have the burden of maintaining our own corner stores. Thank you, Arab, and Asian communities for unloading of us of the burden of being merchants in our own community. Now we can go shop and spend our money at Target. We can spend our money at Walmart, because that's how you end racism. You end racism by spending your dollars with everybody else. I'm being sarcastic. The economic devastation of the integration generation on the Black community cannot be understated. Our ancestors built communities because they understood that the two key components to maintaining freedom was land and education. And if you're going to have education, you got to own your land. Because you got to build schools. And if you're going to build schools, you want to build schools on your land. If you're going to build homes, you want to build homes on your land. You want to build a community, you want to build a community on your land. Our ancestors understood that the best way to avoid racism is to not need racists. When you need racist for food, you're going to encounter racism. When you need racist for clothing, you're going to encounter racism. When you need racist for shelter, you're going to encounter what? Racism. When you need racist for governance, you're going to encounter what? Racism. So the more institutional control you give up to racists, the more racism you're subjecting yourself what? To. When they began integrating schools and busing black children out of black communities into white communities and subsequently shutting down many predominantly black schools, we were subjecting ourselves to racism in the name of progress. Rather than bringing in the resources that black schools needed and bolstering black schools, we said no, the answer is for us to abandon the black school and go attend the predominantly white school. Instead of bolstering the Negro leagues in baseball, we say, no, let's integrate white baseball. They didn't call it white baseball. They called it Major League Baseball. But major was a synonym for white in that scenario. And so we celebrate Jackie Robinson in what was really an economic attack on black independent baseball. And we allow it to die. We allow it to die, this multi-million-dollar institution to die, so we could be included in an institution that not only did we not own, they allowed us to buy tickets, right? But did Major League Baseball turn around and reinvest in the black community like Black Independent Negro League Baseball did? No. And we stop demanding. We don't even demand a community investment from the businesses that we support. We ask them to give us a few low-paying jobs and even fewer high-paying jobs, and we call that progress. Meanwhile, our youth have nothing to do in our community, and you can't go to Walmart and say, hey, Walmart, we need after-school programs. We need more funding for our after-school programs. We need more funding for our youth sports. We need more funding for our STEM programs. The community investment. That's where you grade your relationship. Am I making sense to y'all? How many scholarships does Target offer for black students? How many scholarships does Walmart offer for black students? How many business incubators, right, are being funded in our community by Nike and by all of these big companies that we support as if it's a religion? So when we do things like this, the boycotting Target, I saw where one pastor said that we are going to be the leaders of our people. Speaking on the black church, he's a bishop out of DC, and he's quoted as saying, we're going to become the leader of our people. Really, black church, you're going to become the leader of our people, and in leading our people, you're going to, this is what we do. We're going to punish Target for ending DEI. There's so much more you can do for our people. There's so many more needs that our people have. As they roll back federal funding, black boule, black church, black wealthy people, black working class people, are you ready to replace that investment? Are you ready to replace federal dollars when it comes to community programs and services that we need? Will there be a buy-in to the black community? I'm not talking about the online black community. I'm not talking about the middle class black community. I'm not talking about doctor this and doctor that. I ain't talking about that black community that don't live in the black community anymore. I'm talking about the hood. I'm talking about the working class black community. Are y'all ready to buy in to the working class black community? Are we ready to buy in to working class black education? Because that's what the other side is doing. Yeah, the other side is pouring money into programs to fight the opioid addiction. The other side is pouring money into STEM programs for their community. The other side is pouring money to make sure that their working class is getting certified in trades. And are we ready to make that investment? Huh? Are we ready to buy in since we talking about fighting for to end DEI? Are we fighting to empower black people? Or is it one of those things where when we say, hey, let's empower black people, you do like Kamala and them did, and you say, well, we got to empower all people. We can't just focus on empowering black people. Yet you want black people to come out and spend our dollars, and move our money around in these programs that supposedly support all people, with us being at the bottom. When is somebody going to support something where black people are the primary beneficiary? So I don't want people to be fooled by ceremonial boycotts, by ceremonial protests that's centered around issues that have been politicized, where all your leaders are doing, y'all, is getting money and moving money behind the scenes. What kind of check is somebody gonna write Mr. Sharpton's organization to get him to stop? Because that's how this thing usually goes. They may form some sort of coalition, some sort of board, some sort of commission to study DEI, or to study racism, and then somebody's gonna drop a donation check to the organization that organized it, and that's it. And they're gonna say everybody go home, everybody get back to spending. That's not an economic agenda for your community. So where you're going to Target in your kente cloth, excuse me, going to Target in your dashiki and your kente cloth, buying products by black people, that's still feeding Target. That's still feeding Target. Okay, Target ain't mad at that. You go in and you do a buy-in at Target, then say, we not coming back tomorrow though. Target like, good, no problem. Black church, why don't you march your congregation into the working class black neighborhood? Why don't you march that congregation into the hood and say, we're going to buy that building. We're going to buy that building, and we're going to put somebody who lives in this community, right, in that building to do business. We're going to buy that building. We're going to buy that daycare that's been abandoned, and we're going to revitalize that daycare and train the people in this community to run that daycare. Why don't you march your congregation down there and say, you know what, any real estate company that does it, that practices redlining, we're not supporting that real estate company. We're gonna fight redlining. Y'all know what redlining is, when they draw a red line around places in your city where black people live and say all property inside this red line is worth less because that's where black people are. Do you know that the property inside your community has less value and higher insurance rate simply because you're there in 2025? That's something to fight. So black churches won't have to pay these crazy insurance rates that they have to pay, or businesses in the community won't have to pay these crazy insurance rates that they have to pay because of the property value and the high crime that they claim is in your community. But now go ahead and go give Target money. Then don't come back the next day and not give Target money, and fight for DEI policies, but don't fight the policy itself. No one's fighting to make sure that black people are really benefiting from the policy, because here's one thing that politicians know. And here's one thing that your black Negro leaders know. When the stuff hit the fan, you can always just blame black people. No, when things hit the fan, you can always blame black people. Hey man, we not benefiting from DEI. Well, we not putting ourselves in position to benefit from DEI. We ain't going to school. And we could say something like, we ain't going to school, while thousands of black people are in college at the same time. And most people will nod their head and say, well, yeah, you're right. We not going to school. And little Keisha and them up at the college talking about, well, what am I doing? Hey man, we need to fight for fair policing. We need to fight for fair sentencing. At the end of the day, we need to stop doing crime. See how easy it is to blame black people? See how easy it is to shame black people? So at the end of the day, the Trump card, pun intended, that black leaders use is simply shame black people out of wanting anything for themselves. So they can come through and make folks feel like they doing something for their community, make us feel like we really doing something for our people. They say, no, we need to go fight these DEI policies. That's just to get on the news. That's ambulance chasing, issue chasing. But if you really want to boycott, right? If you really want to boycott, start building your own. Matter of fact, I want to call for the end of the boycott of black-owned businesses. Stop boycotting us, black people. Stop boycotting black-owned businesses. Stop boycotting going into business. We teach entrepreneurship at the Uhuru Academy. We have students that are in business right now. And when we promote our students' businesses, man, only a select few come through. When we promote our merch and things that people can do to support the business, it's not a flood, ain't no buy-in. Here's this independent school that's not operating off of grant money, no federal dollars or anything like that, that got it out the mud. And hey, man, I got to sell this thing. Every student I've ever gotten, I've had to earn. Every dollar we've ever received from the black community, we've had to show and prove. And that's okay. But it's a little disheartening when traditionally racist companies can offer you just a little inclusion, and we run over there. We run to give them our money. And we don't demand any true community investment in return. DEI is not an investment in the black community. I'm going to say it again. DEI policies, how it's been used, cannot be considered a reinvestment in the black community. Not significant, but we can demand those things. But you not only need to be willing to boycott the stores that are there, you have to be willing to compete with them. You have to build safe spaces where we can circulate our dollars first. You have to support the black farmers market and go get your vegetables. You have to support the mom and pop stores in the community. It's time to compete with these corner stores that's had the neighborhood on lock for years, selling bad food, making sure they got a case full of 40 ounces in there. Can sell you every blunt wrap that you need, all the Black and Milds, anything you need to further destroy yourself, they got it in there. Why are we not competing with these stores? Why are we not pressuring these stores? Yeah, bring that crowd into the hood where our people need that crowd the most. You're not going to destroy Target. But supporting Target does help to destroy us. Supporting these big chains, taking our money out of our community, that does help destroy us. And that's irrefutable. So for those of us who are organizing on the ground, miss us with that. Come home. Come here. And bring some Black love, Black into the real Black community. I want y'all to have a Blacktastic day. I'm about to go teach. I love you. I don't mind telling you, you can support the Uhuru Academy. Because we are a school, y'all, right? We are a school. You can support the Uhuru Academy. Let me put my ticker across the thing right there. You got a link right there at bit.ly/build Uhuru. You can support us there. You can also support us via Cash App, and I'll put that on here as well. $ Uhuru Academy. All right. And I'll put that across there too, right? And this is where people turn off the video. This is where people walk away because we're conditioned to do that. We're conditioned to not support this. This is where the boycott begins. When I put that across the screen, I ain't trying to guilt nobody. I'm being real, right? We just did a Super Bowl fundraiser for the school, right? Now, when I come on and I talk bad about Black folks, oh man, it's on. I get all kind of views. But as soon as I say, all right, support what we're doing, we're actually a part of the solution. We're actually not only a school, but we're helping to build schools and develop programs and train teachers all over the country. You could come help that. That's when the crickets happen. I guess everybody's going to Target. All right, y'all. I'm out. Have a great day. This has been the Morning Bill with Amin. Like and share this video. Peace.